Hey guys, Metal Jesus here, and I'm back again with Drunken Master Paul.
And we're here at one of my favorite playground stores in the whole area. This is RePC. It's in Tukwila, Washington, which is just south of Seattle. And they take care of all this old computer gear. They recycle it, they bring it in, they rebuild it into other machines, as you very well know, don't you?
I know, these guys made my Windows 98 gaming PC. So cool.
So cool. And it's awesome because not only are we gonna check out the store, but they're gonna show us some very special cool stuff in the back room.
My mind was blown. Let's take a look. First off, guys, I want to mention that this is not a sponsored video. As a matter of fact, I went to the owners of RePC and asked them if I could shoot a video here and give a tour of their store on my YouTube channel. And honestly, they were kind of surprised. They're like, why would you do that? But the truth is, I don't think a lot of places have something quite like this in their town, in their city. And so I just want to show you what we have here and why this place is so damn cool. Dude, a brand new copy of Windows XP Professional.
That's the last one in captivity. That's the last code you can get for Windows XP.
Oh, don't you? Yep. So what is this place? Well, it's basically a store that sells new, used, and refurbished PC parts from basically the dawn of time. I mean, these guys go back literally to the 60s. But primarily it's stuff that you would get like in the 80s, 90s, the 2000s, stuff like that. But it's amazing how many different eras they cover, how much stuff that they've actually got here. A working Windows 98 system set up and ready to go. This is awesome. So what is it here? So it's an Intel Pentium 3. Let's see, 384 megabytes of RAM. That was pretty rocking back in the day. 6.4 gigabyte hard drive. Yeah, 4 megabyte ATI graphics. It's got a sound blaster in there. This is a pretty awesome machine.
Didn't you just have one of those built?
I did, actually, and this is pretty close to it. Yeah.
So what you're saying is I can either spend a lot of time reading through bins, putting consoles together and everything, or I can come down here and they've already got one working for me. I can go and plug it in.
Yeah, and it's 180 bucks. And the reason why I say that is because on mine, I was telling you earlier, that it's a challenge to get the right amount of RAM, the right amount of hard drive space, because Windows 98, you know, is it's a delicate flower, to put it lightly. So
it's old. Give it a break.
Yeah. So you know, because you would want to put the largest hard drive you can in there, but you can't because it just won't even boot it.
It doesn't even recognize.
It doesn't even recognize.
A gig,
yeah. And it's not just old computers either. It really depends on what comes through the door. So it can be something all the way from the 80s to something as new as just a couple months ago. It's at this point that I want to introduce Chris, the awesome employee that made this whole video happen. And he gave me a tour of some of their ready-to-go computers and what it takes to get them ready for the customer.
We bring them in, refurbish them, put Windows 10 on them, new parts, run them through stress tests, make sure they work, and they're ready to go out the door. Take them home. You don't have to download anything, register anything. Plug them up.
For
take them home, plug them up. Yeah, and they're ready to go.
Wow, that's pretty cool. You need one, Paul.
I need two.
Yeah. Speaking of things I need, when was the last time you saw a stack of floppy disks for 15 cents a piece? Those were the days. Here's a box of loose graphic cards. Do you need a new CPU? Pick your poison. Do you prefer AMD or Intel? Here are some cheap wired keyboards starting at about $2 a piece, or if you're like me and you prefer those clicky IBM style keyboards from the late 80s or early 90s, yeah, they got those too. And if you're like me and you have multiple computer systems, you're gonna need a KVM switch.
You know, something that people really look for, and it's amazing, is the old Sound Blaster cards with the joystick control in them. I still have people asking me for these. The basic video cards. I saw a bin of audio cards down here. So basically anything I want from back in the day to build a computer, they're here. Thing is, I can either pay these guys to build it, or I can take a crack at it myself, when probably means they're going to build a computer for me. Or I have a great smoke test.
And yes, they get a smattering of video game consoles, cables, and peripherals donated to them. And sometimes you can find some really weird stuff here because, again, it's not picked over like other stores. I always forget they have stereos. You know, I mean...
This is like my old school stereos.
Yeah. Yeah, so in addition to computers and peripherals, they also have a bunch of vintage audio equipment here. Again, a nice little surprise. It's fully tested. You can, of course, get turntables, receivers, you can get speakers, headphones, things like that. And lately, I have been into collecting vintage and old iPods. Yes, the original Apple iPods. And during this trip, I picked up a couple of them.
I think you need that.
I know I need that.
I think you need that in the Metal Jesus Man Cave.
Huh. Do you think
$100.
You think this is like a Perry Como album or something right there? Or like a Slim Whitman?
Nah. There'll be some politician that doesn't realize that we've got his tape.
It's at this point during the tour that we met up with one of the co-owners. His name is Steve. And I was really curious to know just where the heck does all of this stuff come from? Is it Craigslist? I mean, where do you get this stuff?
So stuff comes from everywhere. We get a lot of recycling, whether it's parts and pieces, broken items that have to go to a place that's much more responsible rather than the dump. As part of the e-cycle program, we collect computers, tablets, TVs, monitors, laptops, and they all go to the program. Beyond that, we'll accept anything that's pretty much electronic except for maybe a refrigerator or other appliances.
It was at this point in the conversation that Steve was like, hey, do you want to see something really cool that only the employees get to see? Of course, I was like, yeah. So what we learned is the public store is only using about 25% of the floor space. The other 75% of the space in here is used for storage and maintenance. Look at this. This is pallets and pallets, as far as you can see here, filled sky high, taller than I am, with computers, peripherals, software. It's amazing. Now, the reason why he even invited us back here is because, unlike a lot of normal customers that walk in the door, he soon found out that I am a hardcore retro game collector, and also I just really appreciate old computers. And not a lot of this stuff is actually out on the floor because they don't sell it a lot. And he's like, oh, well, you've got to check out the back room. And I was blown away. I mean, I've never seen so many old Macs, Commodore 64s, TRS-80s. I mean, he just had all these old computers in the boxes with the peripherals just on stacks of pallets. It was crazy. But of course, I mentioned that I play games, and he's like, oh yeah, we got those too. He proceeded to show me boxes that are labeled Commodore 64, Amiga, Atari ST, MS-DOS. They've got just boxes and boxes of games. Many of them are sealed brand new. Now, I want to be clear, they're not just storing this back here because they're hoarders. Again, they believe in truly recycling everything. So this is all eventually going to be sold. It's simply just back here because it either needs to be sorted through or priced or tested or something like that. But eventually this will all either go on eBay or perhaps they'll sell it in their store, or maybe they'll go to an expo.
So you must be one of the few places that still does repair work on these old machines.
As far as I know, we're the only ones that'll work on something older than like 10 years.
Wow.
I don't know of anyone else who does, but they may.
Yeah, did you hear that? RePC will repair not just new computers, which they certainly do, and let's be honest, they spend most of their time doing that, which you would expect, but also your old computers from the 80s and 90s. I just thought that was so cool. All right, dude, thank you so much for letting us dig through your awesome store.
We appreciate you coming by.
So, people want to find out more, where can they go?
Probably the easiest is the website, repc.com.
Okay.
No hyphen, just the letters REPC.
Okay, cool. I'll put it down in the video description below. And as always, guys, I want to thank you for watching my channel. Thank you for subscribing, and take care. It's funny because when I first pitched the idea of doing this video at their store, I wasn't 100% sure of all the things that they actually did there. So as you can see in this video as it goes along, I'm kind of blown away by it. It's such a cool store. And as we were leaving, they hinted they may allow us to come back and actually dig through all of those boxes in the storage area and do one of the biggest, most awesome pickups videos ever. So stay tuned to my channel for that.